pals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming, and something on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Beasts of the Thorns. Let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. They value the preservation of traditions and conventions more than anything else, and sometimes I hear about these initiation ceremonies going awry. There's not enough information. Fortunately, we have Ostrom's number, so it shouldn't be too difficult to ask. Given the strong societal influence of this club, I suggest considering it as an option. There are two other clubs that equal Wild Hunt's influence. One is the Golden Dawn Sisterhood, which is not related to us, and the other is the Virkolakas, a right-wing ideological student society. This is the other society Lucas warned about. The president is Eugene Scarlet, who is supposed to be the bat. Sorry about that, y'all. My instinctive alarm bells won't stop ringing. This must be the same illegal recruitment bad club we encountered earlier. I suggest we rule it out. I picked up the remaining flyers. There's a charity-based social service club called Crux, and the non-governmental organization The Crescent. It's a really good movie. Serve the community and help the weak devils. These kinds of clubs would take up a lot of time. I'm not sure if we have the time to do this volunteer work, but let's consider them as options for now. I'll put these two with the Wild Hunt and pick up the remaining 3 flyers. D&D Game Club, Electronic Gaming Competitive Club. When did these sneak in? I gave him more a glare. When did you put it in? Don't make that face, I'm not buying it. I roll out these 2 flyers. I'm more let out an obvious groan. I picked up the last one. NGC 5236 Music Club. Chris? Chris averted his eyes sheepishly. If you're both going to join interest clubs, you'll have to fend for myself. These 2 are staring at me with sadness. My heart aches. Oh my god. Come on, it's stressful. Okay, guys, don't make that face. I'll do it, okay? Don't think you can get away with this every time. Chris and Amora saw through my agreement and wagged their tails together. Amora, you're a fox, and even you're acting like a dog. Maybe we can join 2 clubs. Ostrom is both the Student Council president and the Wild Hunt Club president, so it should be possible, right? In any case, we'll start by choosing between these clubs. We should have some time tomorrow to go over the clubs. Chris has a meeting with his professor tomorrow morning to talk about classes to make up. And Amora and my professor won't be free to meet with us until the day after tomorrow, so we should be able to make a date for tomorrow afternoon. Chris pocketed the flyer, and we watched as the square drew to a close and the crowd began to slowly disperse. The ice cream parlor is sold out. It's almost time to go to the dorms and unpack. I pulled out my cell phone, and Ostrom had kindly sent me a map with our dorms marked on it. This guy can do a little more than that. I guess he should have a secretary or an assistant to handle all this. And again, this kind of thing is supposed to be the job of school administrators, right? It's a bit odd for the student president to be personally involved in such a trivial matter. I scroll down and see a second missive from Ostrom. Malachite wants me to come by tomorrow at any time. It's probably a physical exam thing. Chris volunteered to be the guide to the hospital. He was always happy to be the guardian of the group. I occasionally competed with him for the position of leader. The only way to lead was to give him full authority over me, though I've been cleverly hiding it, always had a poor sense of direction. The canine dorms are located at the opposite end of the school, and after a little wandering, Chris caught the attention of the direction of the campus. The school isn't that big, and it only takes about half an hour to walk across the campus. But there are actual terrain ups and downs, so it might take a little longer. The buildings are built around a plaza, so getting around is time-saving. It's just that there are too many steps to ride a bike rather than walk. That's peculiar. What's peculiar is that there's a large wooded area to the north of the campus that is still part of the campus, about the size of the campus, and there's a building that sits all alone there. I hope that building isn't the classroom I'll be using for my classes. The road leading up to that building is extremely winding, so maybe we could check it out sometime. Maybe it would be a good hiking trail. It didn't take us long to find the dormitory building. Access to the canine dorms is managed by smart access cards, and the chip on our keychain opens the door. When I opened the door, I thought it would be filled with the musky odor of animals, but there was only a nice woody scent in the air. It's probably from the wood upholstery or furniture. Our room was at the end of the third floor, and there was a small balcony at the end of the hallway with a view of the school. It was starting to get dusk, and in the distance we could see the lights on the other side of the plaza, so it looked like there was something else going on in the evening. Opened the door to my room and saw my luggage neatly laid out on the floor. The table and chairs were spotless. The bed had clean bedding, and the service was so attentive. Unpacked, put my clothes in the closet, took a moment to put my necessities where they belong. As I pulled more and more things out of my suitcase, the bottom of the pile became visible. The last item was a picture frame with no photos in it. It used to hold a family photo, but I had locked it away on the other side of the storage unit. I put the frame on the counter. I turned on the lamp and let the warm light shine on the frame. It feels like home. Who am I kidding? I shouldn't be alone. I can't. Let's go see Chris. This is a turning point, perhaps. Okay. I knocked on the door of Chris's room. He seemed to have realized it was me by the sound of footsteps and opened the door a little to look at me. Is there something wrong? There's nothing much going on. I've finished organizing and thought you might need a hand. Chris hesitated, then opened the door to let me in. His room was filled with tons of cardboard boxes, and the only thing organized was his electric piano set. I looked at him disapprovingly. He looked back at me with innocent eyes like a dog who'd done something wrong. Please let me explain. I do want to finish organizing quickly, but... Chris took my hand and sat me down in front of the electric piano, and then he played a little familiar melody. Do you remember? You used to pester me to play it for you. I remember you putting up with my caprices and setting aside time to play for me, no matter how busy you were, until one day you just put the electric piano away and stopped playing it. You've got the electric piano out. I haven't seen you play it in, God, almost 7 or 8 years? Pretty much, but I decided to start practicing again. My fingers are a little rusty. Thank you. Although there are some wrong notes, objectively speaking, being able to play with meat pads is already quite dexterous. What makes you suddenly want to get your old hobby back? I think it's time for a fresh start. From all of it. I often feel like just surviving takes all my effort, with various obligations and pressures draining me out. As a result, I'm just breathing to stay alive, while other parts of me have already died. Goodness, y'all. Oh, God. Allergy's going crazy today. He shook his head as if trying to shake off the bad thoughts, and played another brisk tune. Chris is a serious guy. As far as I know, he's still paying back the money his uncle paid for his living expenses as well as his tuition, even though his uncle says he doesn't need to. But Chris told me that his cousin is going to college soon, and it's an expensive private school, so he can't let his relationship disrupt their plans. He already owes his uncle too much. Chris mentioned it to me more than once. He spent more time serving dishes than touching the keys of the piano over the years. With the scholarship from a foreign university and the student loan, I have paid off the money my uncle lent me, and he doesn't have to worry about money for a while. This makes me feel much more relaxed, and I'll be able to finish college comfortably. In the past few years, it's been really difficult for us to meet up. I'm truly sorry. I didn't mean to distance myself from you. Don't say that. I'm the one who feels sorry for not being able to help you in any way. Chris smiled slightly. You've already helped me a lot. More than you realize. Then he played a sad but bright tune. I recognize this one. It's the one you played at my brother's birthday party. Yeah, and also because it was so sad, all the people looked at me with strange expressions. It's true that playing this kind of music at a birthday party is a bit inappropriate. But I think, isn't that what birthdays are all about? Although growing up is a joyous occasion, the beauty of childhood is fading away. It's a mixture of regret and happiness, but people avoid talking about the regretful side and only celebrate the happy side. It may be that people don't handle two conflicting emotions very well. Chris reinforced the intensity of the notes as an affirmative answer. Remember when you were a kid and you wanted to be a pianist? I remember. I recall someone's ambition was to establish a colony in the Phoenix cluster. Sounds like your ambition were more practical than mine. But I have no doubt in my mind that someday your aspirations will be realized in a different form. It's not too late for you to start working toward being a pianist. Chris murmured sadly. Oh, that's a strong one. I love it. I will eventually. Then he drew a hard stop on the keys. Let's go and eat. When we were ready, we knocked on Amor's door. The door opened quickly, but Amor wasn't waiting behind it. Although what could be heard through the door was the sound of video games coming through the high-end stereo, and Amor was already enjoying his games. Amor! Dinner! Wait for me! This game is about to end! I closed the door helplessly. Is he still playing? Why don't we go first? He can catch up with us later. As we were speaking, Amor's door suddenly swung open, and he stared at both Chris and me. Then he used his hands to turn us around and pushed us forward. Let's eat! Let's eat! The dining area is not far from the dormitory building and has a variety of chain restaurants in addition to the school-run restaurant. We arrived just after rush hour. Many students were leaving the cafeteria, so I guess we were able to find some available seating. Oh, that's nice art. Since I don't need to eat or drink, I told Amor and Chris to order their own food, and I was responsible for finding a seat. When I was looking for a seat, I saw rows of students taking up all the space. I was too optimistic. Just when I didn't know what to do, a man waved vigorously at me. It's Ostrom, dining at a large table piled with heaps of steaks. Sitting across from him was a white beastman leisurely sipping tea. I felt a slight surprise when the beastman turned to face me. It's Lucas. Hello, Hess. Lucas, good evening. Have you two met? Yes, and I was helped by him this afternoon. Congratulations. Lucas is quite the celebrity at school. That's all in the past. You guys enjoy yourselves. I'll leave you to it. Professor Malachite is still in the research lab extracting data. I can't leave Evelyn alone with her for too long. The professor will eat her alive. With that said, Lucas gave me a small smile and left with a bow. I thought he didn't have a good relationship with Ostrom, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Are Ostrom Sr. and Lucas Sr. on good terms? Excuse me. We used to be partners before. Just so happens I can tell you all about it. With that said, Ostrom smiled and waved again, and I looked in his direction, and it was Amor and Chris looking for me with their meals. Oops, excuse me. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. They've gone above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 2 gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work content as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!